I have in front of me a Roman shade with 4 lift cords and my dust board with the clutch system partially installed onto the board. And I'm going to show you exactly what I've done with some close-ups here in just a moment. Now these instructions are for a 3-cord or more Roman shade. This is not for a 2-cord system. A 2-cord Roman shade has a little bit different instructions for how the brackets are installed. So I've made a separate video for that. So if your Roman shade only has 2 lift cords, you're going to want to watch the video for a 2-cord system. For 3 cords or more, you're watching the right video. Now, I have already installed the Roman shade onto my board. I did that by just simply stapling that to the board. And you may be able to see that in the video here. I just wrapped it up to the front of the board and stapled it along the top. Now with the board laying down in front of me flat, I have installed the clutch unit over to one side. Now you're going to want to make sure you choose the side that you want. Doesn't matter if it's left or right, it's personal preference. So for me, it's a right side, because once this is up on the window, it's going to face this way, and the bead chain will be on my right side. And you want to install the clutch unit about 1 to 1.5 inches from the edge of the board. Center it in the board and install it. As you probably can see, your clutch unit has little feet. That's what goes to the board, and you use your number 6 screws that the system came with to install that to the board. Now I wouldn't install it right this very minute. I want you just to lay that clutch unit onto the board 1.5 inches away from the edge of the board. Okay? Next, you're going to have these brackets, and let me reach over here and get one for you. You're going to have these rod brackets. These are the triangular looking pieces, and each of these brackets are going to align with each interior lift cord. Now when I say interior, it means every lift cord that's on the inside of the shade. You're likely going to have a lift cord on each edge of the shade. Those are your exterior cords, and for your interior cords, you're going to have a rod bracket. So for this example, I have a 4-cord system. I have 2 interior cords, so I'm going to have 2 rod brackets. You're going to want to slide this bracket over the rod and slide it so that it aligns with this lift cord. And as you can see, your bracket's going to have a little hole, and it has feet. You want the feet to point towards the clutch unit. Okay, so when you slide it onto the rod, make sure your feet are pointing towards the clutch unit. And you're going to slide it over until it gets to the lift cord. Now, when I say align to the lift cord, it doesn't have to be exact. It can be off within, 1/8 of an inch. You don't want to go too far off the mark, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it in line with the lift cord. So for this Roman shade, I'm going to slide on 2 brackets. One for this lift cord and another one for this lift cord, again with the feet pointing towards the clutch unit. And once I have those brackets slid onto the rod, I can then at that point take my screws and install everything permanently into the board. Okay? Now, at first you can just screw the screws into the board, about halfway, make sure everything's aligned. You don't want to do everything too tight just yet. Screw everything in, make sure it's aligned. What's most important is that once you're screwing these in, that this rod still slides easily back and forth. In fact, you can hear mine squeaking a little bit, so it's probably a little bit too tight. I need to loosen these screws a little bit on this bracket. Okay? I'm going to stop now. I'm going to show you a few close-ups of the brackets installed onto the rod, and then I'm going to explain to you what to do with those screw eyes that you have as well. Here is the close-up of the clutch unit installed onto the dust board. As you can see, it's centered as best I can in this direction, and it is about 1 to 1.5 inches away from this edge of the board. I'm going to move this over now so you can see the rest of the installation. Here is my first rod bracket, and it is aligned with my second lift cord. My first lift cord is actually over here. This is my exterior. This is my first interior lift cord, and this one aligns there. Now again, here are my feet, and they're pointing towards the clutch unit. and then I've screwed these into the board. Next, I'm going to pan over a little bit so you can see the next bracket, which is right here. And again, it's aligned with the next lift cord, the next interior lift cord. And just to give you a little bit better idea of the bracket, since you may not be able to see very well at this angle, this is your rod bracket. You have the hole where it's going to slide onto the fiberglass rod, and then you have the feet. And see how the feet kind of stick out on one end and not at the other. And these are the feet that I refer to when I say they need to point towards the clutch unit. Okay, it's very important. Okay, so there's my second one, and then that's all there is for your brackets. Now, if you have more than 4 cords, you're going to do the exact same thing for each interior lift cord. So if you have 6 cords on your Roman shade, and you have 1 exterior lift cord on one end, 1 exterior lift cord on the other end, and 4 interior lift cords, you're going to have 4 brackets, and you're going to slide each bracket on one at a time, just like I showed you with these two, only in your case you would have 4 brackets for a 6-cord system, okay? And each one will align as best as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, whether it's to the left or to the right of the lift cord, just in line with your rings, okay? And now I'm going to show you what to do with the screw eyes. Each system comes with 4 micro screw eyes. It doesn't matter if you have 10 lift cords or 3 lift cords, you're going to have just 4 micro screw eyes. 2 screw eyes will go for 1 exterior lift cord, and the other 2 screw eyes will go with the other exterior lift cord. 2 screw eyes per cord, okay? The first screw eye is going to be over here on the outside part of your clutch unit, aligned with your first lift cord here. It's likely going to be about 1 inch in from your board. If your lift cord is a 1/2 inch in from the edge of your Roman shade, then your micro screw eye will be a 1/2 inch in from the board. You want your screw eye aligned with your lift cord, okay? The next screw eye, and let me see if I can pan over a little bit here for you, is going to be on the other side of your bracket, of your first bracket here. You want to give yourself as much space as possible. So you want to give yourself at least 3 inches from this bracket. I think I only gave myself here 2 inches, which really isn't enough space. You really want it to be about 3 inches from this bracket here. So you're going to have your screw eye aligned with this exterior lift cord, your clutch unit, your bracket that's aligned with the first interior lift cord, and then the next screw eye, which is 3 inches from this bracket in. On the other end of your Roman shade, you're going to have a micro screw eye, again aligned with the exterior lift cord. In my shade, I have my lift cord in 1 inch from the edge, so therefore I have my screw eye in 1 inch from the edge. You're going to want your screw eye to align with your exterior lift cord. The next screw eye is installed on the other side of your next bracket. And again, it should be about 3 inches from this bracket. I only have mine about 1 to 2 inches here, which again is not enough space. You really need it to be about 3 inches over, about right over here, okay? So again, on the other side of your Roman shade, you're going to have your screw eye aligned with your lift cord, your next bracket that's for your interior lift cord, and then a screw eye for, a screw eye that's 3 inches from this bracket here. Now, if you have 5 lift cords on your Roman shade, you're going to see a bracket over aligned with the next interior lift cord. But there's still only going to be 4 screw eyes. So once you've done these 2 sides, the rest will be the same as far as your interior brackets here, okay? So when you're looking at your board, you're going to have a screw eye, your rod bracket, a screw eye, any brackets for interior lift cords, and then when you move to the other side of your shade, you'll have your other screw eye, the last interior lift cord bracket, your clutch unit, and your screw eye over here.